Hello guys, welcome to my channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you, and if you're new here, please do well to hit the red subscribe button and please turn on the post notification bell. Thank you. So today I'll be teaching you how to cut an A-line gown with a yoke. So the upper part is going to have a yoke. So let's get started. So guys, the first thing you want to do is to know the width you're going to be working with, and to determine that, you just divide the biggest circumference of your body by 4. That's quarter of your biggest circumference, and mine is 11 inches. Then you add between 5 to 8 inches extra to get the width. So the next thing you also want to determine is your length. So I'll be working with a length of 42 inches plus my hemming allowance included. Now this line is going to be my starting point. So every of my measurements starts from here. So next I'll be taking my vertical measurements. So from here I'll take from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10 inches. Then from my shoulder to waist, my lower waist, 18 inches. And from my shoulder to my hip is 25 inches. So I'll be connecting the marks. So the next thing we want to do is to impute our shoulder measurements, and the shoulder I'm working with is 14 inches divided by 2 because our fabric is on fold. So that's 7 plus half inch for joining, 7.5. So next, at this 7.5, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant, and the next thing I will do is to impute my armhole depth, which is 8 inches. Then I'll connect. So this will now be our chest line. Next, I'll impute the neckline. So the width I'll be working with is 3.5 inches. And the depth for the back will be 3 inches. Connect. So this is for the back. But for the front, I'll be working with 5 inches. So I'll connect to here. So this is 5 inches for the front, and this is 3 inches for the back depth, and the width is 3.5 inches. Then I'll be connecting from here to this 1 inch for our shoulder slant. So the next thing I'll be doing is to impute the horizontal measurement. So quarter of my bust circumference is 10 inches, but I'll be adding 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So that's 12 inches. So I'll be coming down to the waist, and quarter of my waist is 9 inches, 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for hemming allowance. So I'll be going over to the hip, and quarter of my hip circumference is 11 inches plus 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. I'll be connecting my armhole curve. So you just get your curve, and if you don't have a French curve, you can make do with your free hand. So I'll be connecting from here to the waist and to the hip. So the next thing I'll be doing is to connect from here to the hem. So I'll determine what I want to use for the hem part. I will impute 1/4 of my hip circumference, which is 11 inches plus 1 inch for ease. That's 12 inches. I will impute it here. I'm going to be adding an extra 5 inches. So the next thing I will be doing is to connect from this hip point to this 17 inches. So from the hip, I connected to the hem. So you just want to make some slight adjustments. So any place we have sharp curves, you just blend them. So guys, to give this a nice fitting at the hem, a nice shape at the hem, it's advisable to come up with about 1 inch here, then you just curve. The next thing I'll be doing is to cut out. So I have my back, I'm cutting the back and the front together. So guys, the next thing you need to note is that this dress doesn't have a zipper allowance. So that is why the front neck depth, I came down by 5 inches, and the back neck depth is 3 inches. So I came down here more than the back to allow for the head to fit into the dress. So I'll be cutting out, and I'll be cutting out with the back neck depth before I'll cut out the front neck depth. Also on the shoulder, I'll be adding a 1/2 inch allowance for the joining. So after cutting the unwanted parts, so this is what I have. So the next thing I'll be doing is to separate the back from the front. So I'll take off the back piece and we'll work on the front piece. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to determine the length of the yoke you want to use. So I want to make use of 7 inches. So from this point, I'm going to be coming down by 7 inches. I'll be cutting here off. But before I do that, I need to have a 1/2 inch allowance to join the yoke to this place. So I'll come up by 1/2 inch. Then I'll connect to this place. This is supposed to be the length of the yoke I want to use. So I'm going to be cutting here off. But because I need 1/2 inches to join it to this piece, so I don't have a shortage on the length, I went up by 1/2 inch. So automatically I have about 6.5 inches here. So I'll cut out. So I'll be cutting from this line. So after cutting out, so this is what we have for our yoke. So the next thing you want to do is to get the fabric you want to use for the yoke. So I want to make use of this lace material. This folded edge should be the same thing with this. So this folded part and this folded part should be on the same place. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to put 1/2 inch here. So this 1/2 inch I'll be joining to this is so as to sew it to the other part of the dress. So I went ahead to add the 1/2 inch and I've cut out. So this piece is no longer useful. So this is what we'll be joining to our dress. It's going to be like this. So by the time we're sewing, we're going to sew with 1/2 inch. I have a 1/2 inch allowance here and on this. So when we sew, we'll be getting our exact measurements. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to cut the sleeve, and I want to use a flutter sleeve. So I'll be cutting my flutter sleeve. So the next thing you want to do is to fold. You're going to fold diagonally as if you're folding in bias form. So, and you determine how full or how wide you want yours to be. As you can see, I still have some. I'm not folding. I don't want it to be too full. So the next thing you want to also do is to determine where your round armhole, 1/2 of your round armhole plus 1 inch. So mine is 9 plus 1 inch, 10 inches. So I'll come here and indicate 10 inch. So we have 10 inches here. So the next thing I want to do is to come down to impute my cap height. So my cap height is 4 inches. So please, if you don't know how to calculate your cap height, I have a video on how to draft a basic sleeve. So I will link it up here. So the next thing I'll do is also to connect I'm going to determine the length of the sleeve I want to work with. So I'll place my tape here like this. So I want to work with 11 inches and I'll be placing 1.5 inches. That will be 12.5 inches. We're working with 12.5 inches. So I'll go around. Twelve and a half. I'll keep placing my tape like this. 12.5, and here 12.5. So this is for the length of our sleeve, so we can connect. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to draw a diagonal line from here to here. So I have a diagonal line and I'm going to be taking half of this line then I'll connect from here to here and here. So you can use your curve and connect like this to here. Then I'll invert my curve and I'll connect from here to here, just like this. So the next thing you want to do is to make sure that whatever you have here should be the same thing on the dress you're making. So for instance, place my tape like this I'm working with 10 inches. So this is 10, then plus 1 inch for allowance, seam allowance. So this is it. So next I'll connect from here to here. So the next thing you want to do is to go up by ½ inch for our allowance, joining it to our dress. You just simply go like this and you connect to here. So I'm going to be cutting out from here all the way here. So guys, I have both sleeves here. Then I have my dress. This is for the front. I'll open this up. Then I'll join this like so. Then I'll use a bias strip to turn the neck. Same thing for the back. I'll use a bias strip to turn the neck. Then I'll place them shoulder to shoulder, right sides facing right side. I'll join the shoulder, I'll join the sides, hem it, and I'll fix the sleeve. So guys, we've come to the end of this tutorial, and if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.